Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the program Business Time. My name is William Kumwembe. It is a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories that are making headlines in the country. And in the program today, Mining Ministry sets an ambitious target to grow the industry's input to the economy. We speak to Minister responsible. And also in the program, local industry panic as European countries issue fresh ban of travel from SADC countries. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned if you could. Hello and welcome. This is Business Time, and in our main story in the program today, the Minister of Mining has set an ambitious target of growing the sector's input to the GDP to about 10%. This comes as the sector's input remains minimal at 1%. Minister of Mining Rashid Gafar was speaking in Parliament when he presented a ministerial statement on the state of affairs and as far as mining is concerned in the country. Outside Parliament, our journalist Taonga Sabola caught up with Gafar.
This mineral is for the making of aeroplane parts, batteries and things like that. So it is very important. In the future it will be one of the most, the best mineral to have as a country. As you know, samples are sent out of the country to test the value of what minerals we have. As of next year, once we have this laboratory up and running, we'll be able to do all that here. All that we have been fearing, that minerals are being exposed on the pretense that they're going for testing, while actually people have mined and taken away what is the mineral out of the country through the pretense that there are samples. All that speculation will be done and over. We'll do all that testing here to know what we have as a country, and no samples will leave. Yeah, this 5 billion kwacha is for the formation of the mining company. We want to start our own mining company here in Malawi. You know, mining is a very expensive thing. If we want to have better deals, we must invest. Our minerals in the country, as an example, Kairekera, because we do not have our own money to invest, that's why we are let down by the miners that come here. We want to start this mining company to make sure that we as a country benefit. If in the future we can raise enough money, that means we could even own all the mining that is done in Malawi. So by so doing, all the benefits of the mining that is done here can be ours, unlike waiting for big mining companies to come out of the country, outside the country to come and do the mining here. We are forming them into cooperatives. You know, there's a lot of illegal mining. We wouldn't want to be seen to be the ones stopping it. What I think we should do is legitimize those Malawians, because I want to show you it's Malawians doing that mining. We should legitimize them by forming them into cooperatives. Teach them the best way of mining. Teach them how to look after the environment. Find for them the best equipment. Find for them investment. You can see already that we would like mining to take over from agriculture. It's a long step. But you can see that the people that are doing that mining right now in our villages, you can see a change in them. For an ordinary villager now, he has a kraal of cattle. You can see that lady that is doing that mining has a house roofed with iron sheets, all from that what we call illegal mining. So we want to encourage those people to make sure that they do it properly. And the only way that you can sell gold from this alluvial mining is through cooperatives. Outside buyers want to see licensed gold that is coming from Malawi. And the only way you can license it is through a cooperative. All we're doing, making sure that we get good deals with these big mining companies. Kairekera, they have mined only 40% of the resource there. There's still 60% of the resource, yet they had a duty-free. The only thing we got out of that is the 15% shareholding and the royalties. Yet it contributed to 10% of our total revenue. Can you imagine now, Kairekera, fully being mined, being taxed properly, and these all other mines that we're talking about come to fruition. We have just been humbled by saying 10 to 20%. I can even imagine that it will be more.
Now, with cases of the new COVID variant recorded in some parts of the SADC region, there are concerns that this could affect businesses, and local industry has lamented that if nothing is done to contain the contagion, the country would still face more challenges ahead. This comes as some European countries have already issued a fresh ban of travelers from the continent. Now, we find out what impact could this have to the local economy that is already almost on its knees due to the pandemic. In recent weeks, the news media has been awash with reports that COVID cases have been on the rise in South Africa, Malawi's largest trading partner on the continent, and Botswana. Just over the weekend, the United Kingdom, the United States, the European Union, and Australia imposed travel restrictions on Malawi and other SADC countries. MCCCI President James Chimaza says while it is too early to tell the possible impact, the country's response to the new variant would determine its resilience.
It would affect, it's not so much the announcement of the variant itself, but the way it is being managed, how we respond to it can affect it. And it's probably too early to tell because it's at the political stage where political statements are made all over. But we're just hoping that sooner rather than later we will have a sober response to it so that it minimizes shocks in the business. Any time that travel is disturbed, movement, logistics are disturbed, there's a shock in the business performance.
Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences economist Bechani Chereni says the country has learnt some aspects of preventing the spread of the virus and that a good number of the population has been vaccinated.
We should be affected, but I think the magnitude of that effect should be a bit different. This time around, it should not be expected to be too much. Why? Because there has been some learning process. We now are understanding how COVID-19 spreads. We now have learned some of the behavior of this virus to the extent that Malawians are no longer finding it to be a problem to put on their face mask. Quite a number have been vaccinated, although the number is not as impressive, but there has been some vaccination any which way, and the people are washing their hands. We have done some learning on that one, especially for people in the urban areas. Some beliefs that have been there, they have been removed in a way. People are now believing that the COVID-19 is a disease, it's a condition, it's a virus which can take away life, and it has taken away quite some lives. A lot of people, very important, their lives have been taken away. So because people have learned how to behave within the COVID-19 situation, somehow the effects should not be as too much. Yes, we understand that there's going to be some travel embargoes. We also do understand that apart from those travel embargoes, many countries might go into some soft lockdowns, but those even should not affect us too much because a lot of Malawian traders, they have learned to embrace e-commerce. People are using e-commerce. People are they are able to buy and sell commodities online within and outside our country. So if we are going to be affected by this virus, especially this fourth wave, it should be the case that maybe our readiness was not as okay. Otherwise, we have learned, we know how to deal with it, we know how to maneuver, and we know how to do the e-commerce and trading. So that should not be a big problem at all.
Director for Center for Research and Consultancy, Milward Tobias, says the new variant and increasing number of cases in some countries must concern Malawi from both the health and economic perspectives.
Remember, this is Business Time. It's a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories that are making headlines in the country. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Business Time. It's a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories that are making headlines in the country. And moving on with the program, Malawi remains an agrarian economy, with maize remaining its staple commodity. Now, 80% of the population heavily relies on agriculture, and most of whom are subsistence farmers. The country heavily relies on subsidy to elevate its farmers from one level to another. Recently, President Lazarus Chakwera launched the 2021-2022 Subsidy program, which is aimed at reaching out to a number of farmers in the country. But speaking to some of the potential beneficiaries, they are saying there are still some bottlenecks that is making them fail to access the basic commodities. Our journalist Justin Kwewu has been to some of the markets and has since filed this report.
The ministry's public relations officer, Gresham Lungu, said as of 24 November, 666,000 people have accessed the inputs out of the targeted population of 3.5 million farmers, and this is less than half of the ministry's earlier target, in which it wanted to reach 50% by the end of this month. Lungu attributed the pace to difficulties in reaching some areas and the delay by some private traders to open markets for sales. The spokesperson, however, expressed optimism that by the end of December, they will have had distributed to all beneficiaries or close to the targeted population for this year. He added that on the list of some companies who said will not sign contracts, they have been scouting other means of supplying, such as using Agricultural Development and Marketing Corporation, ADMAC, or National Food Reserve Agency, NFRA. Currently, one company withdrew, 2 companies did not collect contracts, while 8 companies have not retained signed contracts. Chikwawa is topping the distribution list, as 52% of the targeted population has accessed the inputs, while Nkarabe is the lowest at 5.7%. Of the targeted population for the inputs, only 15% have managed to access seeds. Even though the ministry is optimistic on reaching the set target, many people are complaining of lack of access, and here are some of them.
Maendedwa akakauvuta akupezeka kuti panopo olopalaini sitinasunthe pamene tinakhala ndi pomwepo. Kuvuda kuti ndi network komanso zimwapezeka kuti ndithu anthu monga abwera mwapo sachedwa kumatenga kumbuyo kukakhala kutsogolo.
Tikhozoona kuti zina zikuyendako bwino, zina sizikuyendako bwino.
Some things are going well because there is order here. But on the other hand, the process is very slow and some people are sent back saying the names are missing.
Maidi amene kumodzeko anatuluka kunena kuti akwena agule fertilizer ukabwera kuno akumakuzazono kuti mu system mulibe.
People are just too many against limited fertilizer and sales agents, which makes the place to be crowded and the process cumbersome. Commenting on the figures, agriculture commentator Tamani Nkonomfula said the figures are disappointing considering that the rains have already begun in the southern and central region. He added that it is disappointing also that government is not learning from the past mistakes and doubted the program this year will have the intended results. Nkono lamented that each and every year there are recommendations on how the program can be improved, but the program meets the same problems, which makes one wonder as to maybe there are some people who benefit from these problems. The AIP is targeting 3.5 million individuals across the country, which is the same population as last year.
Now, moving on to other business news, technology remains key in as far as development is concerned. And one of the things that the country is spearheading is an integration between financial services and technology. One of the country's companies that is pushing the agenda is MFI Hub, which is targeting various players in the various sectors of the economy to ensure that they are given a certain platform for competitive edge. We spoke to one of the officials from the company.
There was a study in the first place by FinMark Trust, which found out that MFIs and SACCOs are a critical part of the country's economy, but their criticality or their impact on the ground could not be seen because they didn't have adequate infrastructure, adequate technological, I'd say, resources that will enable them to reach out to many. So issues of financial inclusion were affected as of then, and so as a country we could not grow. Now, there were recommendations made during that study. For instance, the whole financial system had to be improved. And there was a project that started after that study. This project was called Financial Sector Technical Assistance Project. So the project touched on a number of things, but one of them was introduction of a technology hub, the MFI Hub. So the MFI Hub got registered in 2017 to manage what we call the technology hub itself. So the technology hub is, the MFI Hub technology is a platform that provides core banking to SACCOs and microfinance sector. It is quite a comprehensive system for this sector. So it has the core banking itself, and it's got other business modules that SACCOs, MFIs can use without having to buy several systems. So our impact is huge. You see, technology is driving the economy, and no institution currently, or either within the country or across the globe, would actually be as effective without technology. And it doesn't come cheap. So our technology will help SACCOs or MFIs to come to the market without having to think about investing huge capex in technology. It is easier for somebody to come up with a business concept with regard to MFI or microfinance provision, and then be able to roll out on a minimum capital base, because of the technology hub. Besides that, in terms of expansion, you see, when you are using manual means of processing transactions, really you are quite limited in terms of the number of transactions you're going to process in a day, and even outreach. So you didn't go out in the remotest areas or send people out. Issues of trust come in because you didn't let people take money all the way to somewhere the remote areas, when there is no way or means for you to track that money. So our coming has improved trust levels. People can follow through all their transactions. Has also improved the efficiency in the market. So processing of loans or mobilization of savings deposits for the SACCOs and MFIs has been enhanced. Right, like I mentioned earlier. So why the sector, the MFIs or the SACCOs, why this sector could not go out as much to reach out to the unbankable population was because they were limited in terms of technology, right? So our coming into being will help these institutions to go out and reach out to as many as possible, all right? And so that brings in financial inclusion. And actually, I should mention here that we exist to serve that agenda of financial inclusion. And to make sure that that works, we have so far have our system integrated with the national switch We have also integrated with Airtel Money and TNM Mpamba, such that people in the remote areas can be transacting, so they can withdraw money, they can deposit money on mobile. So instead of an institution having to think of opening a brick and mortar branch somewhere else, they should be able to transact remotely or offer such services remotely. That's the route that we are taking, especially in advancing financial inclusion. So the first thing you have to do is you have to register with the Reserve Bank of Malawi. So I'm assuming that at that point, your business is also registered with the Registrar of Companies. So you register your business, you get a license from the Reserve Bank of Malawi, and then we are usually notified once you get a license from the Reserve Bank. We reach out to you, we will give you an application form for you to complete. Once you do that, then you are good to go. There is a small financial commitment that you need to make. But our offices are in Namiwawa. We are on Hillcrest Ridge, and I should be able to provide you with our contacts.
On that note, we've also come to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time. It's a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories that are making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. Always remember, if it doesn't make money, then it doesn't make sense. Stay safe and bye for now.